Got this article on breakfast in GQ this morning. I thought it was kind of interesting because the prevailing thought is always wake up in the morning and eat breakfast. And I've seen people do this all the time. Like they wake up at 5:30 in the morning during fire season, and the first thing they do is put on their clothes and go straight to the cafeteria and start eating. And I've always found that weird. I've never been able to eat in the morning. Never been able to eat for at least 2 or 3 hours after I wake up and feel really good about it. During fire season, I force food into myself because I know I'm going to need to eat something. It's usually very light, what I do. But, this philosophy that you need to get up in the morning and eat right away, it's weird to me. I don't think that in human history, 3 meals a day was necessarily typical of people. Like they didn't necessarily have the ability to, the wealth or the amount of food or just the sheer amount of preparation it takes to make food back in the day when you didn't have microwaves and stuff. It's like people didn't eat 3 square meals a day, and now people do, but they also eat all day in between those meals as well and eat all night. So I have some opinions on eating that sometimes I live up to and sometimes I don't. I'm not like some health guru or whatnot. No, that's not the case at all. However, some things that I've been taught, I think, sort of stand to reason still too. And I'm going to let you in on some of this, and we'll talk about this. Let's go.
There it is. This is bad news.
My God. Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get up!
Wow. I'll watch the video later. Ain't dry mopping this.
So hit like, share, subscribe. Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel here in Wells, BC. 3,953 feet above sea level. And people will eat a lot more here. It's colder weather and it's higher elevation. You go through a lot more calories just to survive here. So I've had people come to Wells and be like hungry nonstop. Like I can't stop sleeping, can't stop eating. I'm like, yeah, you got mild pulmonary edema. What? That's a mountain sickness you got there, son. Yeah, so there is that. I do love the high elevation. That's the problem about wondering if I want to stay in this town for the rest of my life is where else do you find a high elevation town like this, or a high elevation place or property? It's rare. So that's something I do want still in my life in BC is I want to be up high. I like it up here, up high. Nonetheless, that's off the topic. So my kung fu teacher used to come in the morning and he'd wake me up, literally like show up at the farmhouse, usually unannounced, like I wouldn't know. He'd just go into town and he decides to leave early and show up at the farmhouse and come upstairs and wake me up, like, get up, it's kung fu time. Like, hey, 6:30 in the morning, good to see you. Good to see you, Sifu. Cool. Let's. So the first time, I want to be hospitable and come downstairs. Like, well, let me get coffee on. Let me get tea on. And like, no, he said, he's like, don't want any of that. Can I? You're trying to be hospitable, right? Can I get you a muffin? Can I want to make some eggs or something? And it's like, no, we're here to train. And his thing that he was really on about was that it's important to train in a state of like emptiness, a state of weakness, a state of that has no tension. It's like the body's digesting. It will slow you. It will slow your mind. It will slow your reflexes. But it also, because your body's actively doing something that is digestion, it's going to introduce a little bit more, tension throughout your being. It's, your body's doing something. It's distracted. It's using up energy. It's busy. It's busy doing things. So he didn't want to train in the morning, and that became if I'd eaten. He showed up at the house once and I'd already had breakfast. Like, hey, have you, he was like, came at 9:30. Hey, have you eaten? I was like, yeah, actually I have. And he's like, okay, well, we'll just sit here and talk about kung fu for the next 3 hours. He wouldn't stand up and train a movement, because I'd eaten already that morning or had a coffee or something, right? So no water, no food, no coffee. Get up and train in a state of emptiness, train in a state of weakness. And like, okay. But I learned a lot of stuff like that. So one of the other thing I found as well as I grew up and I became a mountaineer, right? And I was already becoming that at the time that I started learning with Robert. So I became a mountaineer, came out west, and he was a big part of this. He was he's actually Austrian, right? He's from Italy, Austria. area, kind of that border country area, and he had a very thick accent, and he was a very small man, old fella, and not who you probably expected would be a world-class Wing Chun Kung Fu teacher, but he certainly was very, very deep and sharp man altogether. And what I found, having taken his lesson, was I would put those applications into my life in general, right? So I got a big mountaineering adventure today. Defies it a little bit with my fire season eating. Like, I know, like, I gotta eat something in the morning. It's like I don't really like to do it, but at the same time, it's gonna be a really long day. What if we get stuck out there? What if we get sent somewhere else? What if it's just like, make sure you have a good lunch with you, make sure you got extra food and all that, right? So, but in terms of mountaineering, when you're on a kind of I wouldn't say leisurely, because there's nothing leisurely about mountaineering necessarily, or shouldn't be if you're going hard to some of the places we went. I would do what Robert taught me, not eat in the morning, and try to eat light through the day or whatever. And like the point would be to use food to heal the body, to not power the body, but to heal the body. Like, what you need is, to power the body, you need oxygen, and so try to learn from that, And so I thought this article was kind of interesting this morning too. It says, the best time to eat breakfast, it's not right when you wake up. And this defies what people think, man. People, it's like common knowledge amongst everybody, even though it's not true, that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Everyone says that. People love to debate the timing of dinner, but no meal drums up divergent opinions like breakfast. The popular thinking pushed by cereal companies calls breakfast the most important meal of the day. It didn't take them a paragraph to get into it, eh? And yet millions of people skip it entirely and subside off coffee until lunch, like myself. Should we be eating breakfast at all? If so, what should we be eating? And what, from a health perspective, is the best time to eat breakfast? I think part of the thing about kids eating breakfast at schools, and why it's important, is because a lot of those kids who aren't coming to school fed aren't getting fed well in general, aren't getting proper nutrition. So it's an opportunity to make sure kids are getting proper nutrition. That's something I believe when it comes to breakfast in the morning for kids. Nutrition experts agree you shouldn't be scarfing down food as soon as you wake up. That seems news to me, because all I've ever been told is breakfast is the most important meal of the day, until I met Robert Simeone there, Wing Chun Kung Fu master. He told me not to eat breakfast if I wanted to train with them. So it extends your overnight fasting window and gives your gut a little bit more of a rest, says Rupi Ayla. I don't know how to say that. A doctor who produces podcasts and cookbooks as The Doctor's Kitchen. Time-restricted eating. Waiting 12 hours between the last food you eat one day and the first you eat the next makes the body burn fat rather than carbs. It's associated with weight loss and general good metabolic health. When you first wake up, says Ayula, you should be much more focused on rehydrating with water, because your kidney's been working overtime during the night. He puts a bit of salt in his water for that purpose. Doesn't eat any food until 9 or 10 a.m. People aren't hungry in the morning, says Adam Collins. That's me. I've never been hungry my entire life since I was a kid. Never really been hungry. What's going on here? It's like all these women are walking. Look what I missed at the GQ Bowl. I'm here to talk about breakfast here, and now I got all these ladies walking down, and this guy too. Good, I can stop paying attention. The problem with traditional carb-heavy breakfast foods like cereal, toast, and pastries, they give you a lovely glucose spike that fuels your cells, and then you have a corresponding crash, says Ayula, however you say that. You're hungry again by mid-morning and need coffee and other stimulants to keep yourself focused and up and running until lunchtime. I've noticed this. He recommends a meal high in protein and fiber, partly because we often skip on protein, which we need for longevity, and partly because protein and fiber keep us energetic and satiated through the morning. So if you're going to have something in the morning, have something like eggs, some piece of meat or something, or whatever. If you're vegan or whatever, you have your own thing. So Ayujla has a few go-to breakfasts along these lines. During the week, he relies on overnight oats that go easy on the actual oats. Okay. I have 2 tablespoons of oats, 2 tablespoons of milled flax, 1 tablespoon of chia, and 1 tablespoon of hemp seeds. I had a couple tablespoons of weed seeds. Okay, he grates apple, some pumpkin seeds, a bit of protein powder, then water or coconut milk or whatever. You're matching those oats that are quite carbohydrate rich with fiber and protein. Holy cow, look at this shit he's talking about. When he has more preparation time, he has scrambled eggs or tofu on properly seeded bread, not like supermarket bread. Or shakshuka with lentils and avocado. I never heard us have this shit, so forgive me. I'm like Caribou Mountain Man here, eh? Like I don't know what chia is. Like honestly, I don't. Like I guess it's some kind of a fucking seed. Like I remember the chia pet, so like I guess it's the seed that makes the chia pet. He leans into savory foods or simply having leftover for breakfast, he'll have last night's salmon with sweet potato, bit of greens, and some salad leaves. I agree with this. Most of our breakfast food is antithetical to what we would be eating as hunter-gatherers. We'd just be having savory foods the whole time. There's no need to load up with a massive meal. It's your first of the day, so you need to ease into eating anyways, and most importantly, he says it needs to have the right nutrients. But back to the more fundamental question, do you need breakfast at all? Well, maybe some people do. For many, the meal is more than a distant memory, especially on weekdays. There's an association, says Collins, between skipping breakfast and obesity. That's most likely due to overweight people trying to eat less by cutting out a meal. A late morning protein and fiber-packed breakfast is generally a good idea, but it might just be too logistically inconvenient. Don't stress if you generally miss breakfast completely. Just make sure you compensate nutrition-wise with the other meals and don't overcompensate by overeating later in the day. Maybe there's something to be said about brunch, he said, and maybe my method is to eat a heavy dinner instead. But I find like what happens is if I eat in the morning, what that article said is I end up being hungry throughout the day after that. I've found that before. It's like if I eat breakfast at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning, then by 10:30 or 11, I'm already feeling snacky. By 1 o'clock, I'm already hungry. By 3 o'clock, I'm snacking. It's like, so what happens is I feel like you start a process of just eating. It's like, so breakfast just becomes like the kickoff to a day of eating. Whereas here I am, it's 10 o'clock in the morning so far, haven't eaten yet, about to go have my first coffee still, haven't even had my coffee yet. I feel like throughout the day I eat less than most people around me. Part of that's poverty, part of it's anxiety. I mean, that is a factor, but it's not the whole thing. It's just a part of the factor. I get into more of a rhythm of eating what I actually need to eat or as much as I need to eat. And then what happens too is I don't worry about what I eat that much because I'm not pigging out all the time. Like, so if I want to have cheesies at nighttime, that's what I do. But I try to make my later meals like kind of a healing meal, and you get up in the morning, have energy, and try to get things done. And what I also found was the digestive process does this to you. And it's this thing that I think Robert was trying to get on to as well, like why he didn't want me to eat so before training. He said like your stomach, your digestion's doing all this work. It's taking energy in order to actually it will get more energy than it takes to do it in the end, but it takes energy to do it at the time, right? So you have these blood sugar fluctuations, digestion, and even hormonal changes that can happen. And then, of course, meal size can also trigger more drowsiness. The time of day can make you sleepier. Lack of sleep as well. So like you didn't get a good night's sleep and now you're eating and that's going to actually make you more tired too. So food intolerances, sometimes foods that don't sit well with me have made me go to sleep, and medications and whatnot. But these, this is basically is it right here is eating meals high in carbohydrates or sugars especially can cause spikes in your blood sugar. The body releases insulin. This can lead to a subsequent drop, resulting in fatigue and drive. So the sugar crash, it's noticeable after consuming large quantities of simple carbohydrates. And then the digestion itself, a significant amount of energy and blood flow is going to your digestive system. This can divert blood flow away from the brain and other vital organs, leading to a feeling of lethargy and drowsiness. The body may prioritize digestion over functions, potentially leading to post-meal sleepiness. So you're trying to like go out there and start your day and be an athlete and work hard and climb mountains and I don't know what you do for carpentry or work in the bank or whatever you do. Like you're trying to get out there and have high productivity. So you're trying to have your body be at a state in which it can be highly productive. And then you eat in the morning and you spend, hours feeling sleepy, and then you're hungry, and it's like you're just training your body to eat, to need eating, to want food. So just some thoughts on breakfast and things like that this morning for you all, everybody. Hope to see you around. Hit like, share, subscribe, and we'll keep talking at you here in the channel when we can. Bye now.